the day number 3 of our Lean Six Sigma learning journey. So before we proceed with today's agenda, do you want to ask me anything like based on your learnings on day number 1 and 2? Are there any doubts? Did you get a chance to go through the materials, recordings? And so you have some questions now. I'll be happy to answer. Any questions? All good?
All good.
All good. Great. So again, remember all of you, the best practice is allocate a dedicated time for your learning and make yourself completely available during the training sessions, right? You can, and also always any session must start with some interaction, two-way interaction. Otherwise, it will be very monotonous, very boring, not only for you, but also for me, right? So always when we start fresh, feel free to come on video and then discuss something, and then only know we can actually teach you the what do you call the in-depth points. Otherwise, we might feel like you're finding it difficult to understand. So you should make sure we understand your learnings. Okay. So anything to be asked? Otherwise, we proceed with the define phase. So all the basics we discussed, hope all of you remember. So can you quickly recall a few points which we learned on day number 1 and 2? What is the understanding we developed? So what is Six Sigma? Six Sigma means?
Reducing the defects.
Six Sigma means what? What is the primary focus?
Reducing defects.
Reducing. Right. So any project that is focusing on reducing or preventing defects should be called as a Six Sigma project. Then what is the lean project?
Reducing the waste.
Efficiency,
Reducing
focus on
waste.
efficiency.
Eliminating
Yeah.
waste.
Eliminating waste, improving the efficiency. So efficiency means effectively utilizing the resources. You
Optimal
consume
resource.
any resources excessively, that means inefficiency. So any form of inefficiency is what we learned as waste.
Yeah.
And any form of ineffectiveness is defect. So both must be addressed if you are concerned about profit and operating cost, right? So your profitability as well as the operating cost, you will be able to improvise by eliminating both the defects and the waste. So sometimes in a single project, you can aim to address both. That means you eliminate defect also, you eliminate waste also. Your output is, you're getting more output at the same time, your input consumption is also going down. That is also possible. Such projects are known as Lean Six Sigma project. All of these things comes under the improvement projects, right? Whereas in another possibility is there. You can increase your output by increasing your input. That is also possible. Yes or no? Such projects are known as development projects.
Yes.
In Six Sigma, we call them as DFSS, Design for Six Sigma. Right? We try to develop products and make sure the products meets and exceeds the customer satisfaction in the first launch itself. That approach of product development is known as Design for Six Sigma. So all these things we learned, and we also understood the importance of DMAIC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. A problem well defined is half done. What gets measured gets improved. And while analyzing, we should always try to understand the root cause and not just the symptoms, right? You should always try to understand the root cause, develop a good understanding about the root cause, and then only you must proceed to think about the solution. If you don't develop the proper understanding about the root cause, you may miss out. You may miss out, right? So when it comes to the root cause, identify and then validate and then study the relationship, also study its sufficiency. How many root causes are currently affecting my result? If there are multiple root causes, which is the factor majorly affecting my result? Which is next? Which is next? So what is the total impact? If the total impact is 100%, you have identified all root causes. If you are not able to, if the total impact is not rounding to 100%, let's say it's 80%, still you can feel good about it because you have identified at least 80% of the causes. That's still a good project, good analysis you have done. But always this total contribution should be minimum 80%. Make sure. Then only we should move on to the improve phase. So if you really wanted to understand how many factors and what is the contribution of each factor, then you must definitely master a tool known as regression analysis. What is the tool? Regression analysis, which we will be explaining to you only at a later stage. But in order to perform the regression analysis, nothing but you should be able to frame a mathematical equation showing the relationship between X and Y. You should be able to frame a mathematical equation showing the relationship between X and Y. In order to develop such equation, you need quality data. You need quality data, data free from errors, free from experimental errors, free from sampling errors. If you consciously perform experiment, consciously control the errors, then you become a researcher. Then you become a researcher, and whatever findings you make from the data can be declared to the outside world. Yes or no? Because you have performed the experiment by consciously controlling all the errors, both the measurement error as well as the sampling error, and that means your findings are valid for announcing to others. That means some actions can be taken. So the systematically planning the experiment and conducting the experiment is known as design of experiments. If you design the experiments, then the data generated can be used to generate a regression analysis, and then you will be able to understand the sufficiency of the factor. And then you will be able to understand the sufficiency of the factor. Now that you have the proper information about the root cause, its relationship, and also the percentage contribution, and now you simply call all the project team and then go for another round of discussion to generate solution, because you know everything about the causes, right? And so now is the good time. Now you are competent enough to talk about the solution. So generate the solution, validate the solution, implement the solution. This is going to be your improve phase. Then finally, we implemented the solution. What can we do to sustain the results, to sustain the solution? Because solution, if you don't monitor certain parameters, particularly your critical factors, then what will happen? Your solution can fall down. The improvement become unsustainable. So to avoid that, you must develop a control plan and make sure the critical parameters, the critical factors are monitored on a regular basis and then controlled on a regular basis. Thereby, your Y will never get into the danger zone. This is what is DMAC. We started with the define. In define and measure, our focus is on the Y variable. Define and measure, our focus was on Y variable. In analyze phase, our focus changed to the other side of the equation, X variable. Then in the improve phase, we modified the operating range of the X variable. Yes or no? We modify the operating range of the X variable. Then in the control phase, we make sure the X always operates within the modified range. This is what is the control plan. So from Y variable on the left side, we shifted our focus gradually to the X variable on the right side, right? So this is what is, the DMAC methodology. So now let us try to deepen our understanding on the define phase. So please confirm if you can see my screen, all of you. Visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir, visual.
Yeah, great.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's understand the define phase steps and the tools and techniques. So, while performing the Six Sigma project, it is a regular practice to review the progress of the project at the end of every phase. We call it as toll gate review, right? So, define phase toll gate review, define phase steps and deliverable, and define phase tools. So, these are the kind of questions as a project team or as a project leader you should be able to answer. The first question, is this project important to business? Is this project important to business? So you want to solve a problem. In what way this, in what way supporting this project is helpful to the organization? And does a business case exist? And how much is the investment required? How much resource are required to be pumped in so that the project, can be executed? And if so, what will be the returns? If the returns are not impressive, there is no business case. Yes or no? The project requires, a 20 lakhs funding, but the benefit that your project can generate is lesser than, let's say 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs. Then what happens? And we don't see a financial viability here. The business case should exist, right? Any project. So number 3. Have you identified the CTQ? What does CTQ stand for? Critical to quality characteristics. You are telling that you are doing a project. You should be able to clearly tell what is the metric you are going to improve. What exactly is the metric that will get improved because of your project? Is it the rejection rate you are bringing down? Or is it the lead time you are bringing down? Or is it the on-time delivery you are enhancing? Or is it the inventory level you are bringing it down? Or what exactly you are doing? Or are you working on any project where, the characteristics of a material improves? Maybe surface finish, maybe hardness, or maybe in a bank, the loan processing time coming down, or maybe in a restaurant, the occupancy rate going up, right? The revenue per, the revenue per seat is going up. The metric that you are actually trying to improve should be clearly defined. This is very, very important. If you are not able to identify one metric which can actually indicate the success of your project, which can actually help you understand the pain currently experienced by the customer, then your defined phase is not over. Your problem is considered to be understood only if a measurable metric exists. That measurable metric is known as CTQ, critical to quality characteristics. All right. A proper definition should exist. And you should also know what is the target value for that metric. What is the target value for that metric? And what is the current state of that metric?
Sir, can you repeat the CTQ part once again, please?
Yeah, CTQ means critical to quality characteristics. It is nothing but the characteristics of a product or a service which drives customer satisfaction. You can solve customer's problem. In that case, your metric will be known as CTQ. You can also solve your business problem. In that case, the metric will be known as CTB, critical to business. Voice of the customer leads to CTQ. Voice of the business leads to CTB. Voice of the business is nothing but management's voice, the leader's voice. All the internal problems may be related to productivity, may be related to internal quality, but the voice, if that is coming from the customer, then it is CTQ. In both ways, you can identify project, right? In any case, the metric should be well properly defined, and then it should be measurable in an accurate manner. Or project plans and key milestones defined. What are the milestones? And who are the team member, right? And the timelines. All these things should be prepared. Are project boundaries and stakeholders identified? Understanding the scope of the project is very, very important. The boundaries everything that is falling inside the boundary or in the scope of the project, everything falling outside the boundary or out of scope as far as your project is concerned, right? Say, for example, you are trying to reduce the, what do you call, you are trying to reduce the payment delays, for invoice processing, right? Your company has to make payment to your suppliers. And let us say there are unnecessary delays happening. So you need to now define the problem. So what is the problem now? The payments are not happening on time. So what happens? Your suppliers will not be able to supply probably the next cycle of materials, right? So the problem is related to the payment. So the invoice, when it is received, and immediately you should be able to process and release the payment. And if those payments are not happening, now what is the metric you need to look at now? What is the metric you need to look at now if this is the issue?
If the
Can you
PO
tell me
received on time,
what is that? Come again?
the PO and invoicing done on time before the payments.
Okay. So we are talking, we know here the issue is your suppliers are not receiving the payment on time, right? So invoice processing time, you need to give it a proper name, right? Can we call it invoice processing time?
Yeah.
Invoice processing time is the time lapsed between the receipt of the invoice and payment is effected to the supplier. Clear? So invoice is raised on 10th of August and payment is made on 18th of August. So how many days are the invoice processing time now? 8 days. And your suppliers are not happy and you also wanted to improve this. So the invoice processing time is 8 days. You want to bring it below, let's say 3 days. Now the metric is available. Metric is available and proper definition is available. And target is available. What is the target? Invoice, any invoice received payment must be made within 3 working days.
3 days.
So target definition is available, metric available, definition available, target available. Specifications are made very clear. And now the problem is understood. Now, do you want to effect this improvement for all kinds of invoices? Your company is processing thousands of invoices every single day. Do you want to make sure every invoice is payment is made within 3 days, or do you want to have any boundaries for your project? Let's say the invoice values more than 50,000 are considered under this project. The invoice value less than 50,000 are less critical, but invoice values more than 50,000 are more critical. So can you see a scoping here based on the invoice value? Similarly, you can also segregate your invoices based on the suppliers of critical parts. Suppliers of critical parts, because all critical parts, if they are not received on time, then what will happen? My production line will get affected. So I wanted to see to that those critical parts billings are always paid within 3 days. So the in scope is bills of the critical parts. All right. So there has to be a kind of caption in your invoice saying that whether the bill is for a critical part or a non-critical part. If it is a critical part, then the bill is in the scope of your project. If it is a non-critical part, that is not in the scope of the project. So in this manner, you have to understand the boundaries of the project clearly. All of you understand? So once you have a proper scoping, the boundaries are made visible, then you will be able to understand the stakeholders involved. Who is actually receiving the invoice? Accounts department. Then who is processing and who is actually writing the check, or who is actually affecting the bank transfer. All these parties involved are known as the stakeholders. Right? So you should have a clarity on all of these things. So first step, problem identification or project identification. problem identification or project identification, and then project prioritization and scoping. Then the third step and the final step is finalize the project charter and the high level process map and get it approved by project sponsor, right? And so the deliverable is an approved project charter. If your project charter is approved, that means your project is live. The moment your project charter is approved, signed by the project sponsor, your define phase is completed. All of you understand? When
Sir,
exactly?
what is a project charter? I mean the project list, the doable
Yeah,
and
correct. Exactly. It is nothing but a written agreement between the project team and the sponsor.
Okay.
What is the problem you are going to solve, right? And what is the process you are going to improve? And who are the team member? What are the timeline? What is the cost involved? What is the business case? A document clearly illustrating the project execution plan is known as project charter, right? So we'll talk about it. So normally project charter is a 1 page or a 2 page live document. 1 page or a 2 page live document and created to effectively communicate the project and its execution plan to the sponsor. And you have to make it as impressive as possible so that the sponsor will be motivated to approve your charter. All right. Yes.
Sir, there is one question. If the key milestones are already defined on the project charter, but on the course of executing them, if you think that there is some changes needed on the key milestone, and if there is any kind of changes need to be done in the project charter, then general process will be there. This project charter needs to be made in different way, or we have to rewrite the project charter again.
These are all, these kind of challenges project team will always experience when it is a Six Sigma project, because the uncertainties are more. Because the project is complex in nature, uncertainties are more. And so there will be changes in the schedule. Sometimes there will be changes in the budget. There are changes expected. But to the best of your ability, you try to create a plan. However, if there is a major change during the course of implementation, and project charter must be updated, and you have to get it reapproved. That's why I said project charter is a living document. It's not a document, once you sign and then nobody cares about it. No. It's a living document which has to be updated as the project, is progressing from one phase to other phase. So throughout the project, the charter will be live. And then towards the end of the project, we will sign a project closure document. And if for any reason, if project have to be killed, then also you have to sign a closure document, clearly describing the reason for killing the project, right? So, however, yes, possibilities are there that your timelines, might get extended. So project, can, maybe reapproved by the sponsor. If there is a major deviation, it is always a good idea to update the information and bring it to the notice of the sponsor. Yeah. Any other question?
Sir,
Hi.
are there any guidelines for deciding on the timeline? Like, it should not be exceeding so many days of time, likewise, for a project?
Yeah, it actually depends on the kind of problem we are actually solving. And also, but you get a rough idea about define, measure, because the stages are very clear.
Yes.
Define phase, measure phase, analyze, improve, and control. If you have a thorough understanding of what the activities to be performed during the define phase, then you can allot the time accordingly.
Okay.
So what are the activities you will be performing in any project in the define phase? You must have a thorough understanding of the problem, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
If you don't develop a proper understanding, then still you straight away submit the papers to the sponsor, then it's not fair.
Yeah.
So you have to really put efforts to properly understand the problem. If data is available, refer to the data. Or if data not available, probably you can try to collect the information about the problem, perform a Gemba walk, try to understand what's exactly going wrong, and then you need to really identify the metrics which can actually help you to understand the problem. So, and if needed, some photographs of the what do you call the failures have to be captured, and that can also be part of your project document. So these are all the activities you can perform to ensure you have a clear understanding of the problem.
Okay.
A problem clearly understood gets handled clearly. A problem poorly understood gets handled poorly. So you can allot an appropriate time, and there you don't have to hurry to submit something, right? You as a team use the required time, because only after you come to a level of confidence that you could actually solve the problem is within your area of influence. There are certain challenges, isn't it, when you want to solve problem. So permissions and everything are available. So let us propose this project. So take some time to study and understand the feasibility of the driving a project. And once you are confident, yes, then prepare the papers and then you can submit it. So maybe I think, in my opinion, define phase, sometimes it goes anywhere from 15 to 30 days max. And then measure phase, yes, again, another 1 month time. Because if data is readily available and things are very smooth. Suppose if data is not available, you may have to wait for 30 days to understand, how things are going wrong. In certain cases, you may have to wait for 60 days. We will be able to better judge the duration of data collection only after understanding the proper problem. It can vary from problem to problem or project to project. However, 30 days is a good time to collect data and then understand the trend and pattern, uh, uh, and get the problem verified with the data. And also measurement system. What kind of measurement system your team is using? Do they have a proper measurement system, or they have a weaker measurement system? A measurement system is considered weaker if accuracy is a big challenge. If you are not able to get accurate information, that means your measurement system is weaker. If you have the moment you suspect your measurement system is weaker, then you must validate it before using it. But if you are very, very confident, you don't have any problem with the data quality, you have a sophisticated sensors, instrument in place, which can capture the data, then you don't have to validate measurement system. So, but then normally I think a green belt project will go on for 3 to 4 months. Black belt project will go on for 6 to 8 months. So only the rough, what do you call, the
Range of
guideline available. However, for the exact nature of the project, as a team, you should be able to decide. And there will be certain changes when you actually progress. All right. So finally, the deliverable is approved project charter. And who will approve the project charter?
Teammate.
Team lead. No. Team lead, project leader, project sponsor. Yeah. He is known as project sponsor. So he can be anyone within your organization who has the power to approve and provide the resources. He may be your immediate boss or he may be your super boss. It varies from company to company, isn't it? So whoever has the such an authority, he is known as the sponsor, and he has to sign. Once he gives a green signal, the defined phase is over, right? Along with it, you can also develop a high-level process map. Along with the project charter, you can also develop a high-level process map, which is nothing but indicating 5 to 8 critical steps within the scope of the project. Whatever is the project you are performing, 5 to 8 critical steps of the process which is responsible for the problem, right? We'll see that. Yes, Manoj, you want to ask something?
Hi, Dr. Good evening. Thank you. Actually, you mentioned like this document will be a separate one-pager document, define one with all deliverables, including process mapping as well. So I just seen somewhere like in A3s and all, it is just a sentence written as like what is defined or just a name, something like that. Or like I never seen. Maybe if I'm jumping into a question, such a topic in advance, just like stop me. But I'm asking, is it a document a separate document for define? And are we doing process mapping at the same time of define?
Yeah, good question. So project charter is a separate document, 1 page or a 2-page document. Along with the project charter, you can also create your process map parallelly. That will be a separate document, right? So project charter, and then it will have an annexure of process map. Again, while creating a process map, you don't have to show all the steps. You are in the define phase. Just show the important steps. Show only the important steps, critical steps. 5 to 8 steps, not more than that. 5 to 8 steps. The project, the process can have, let's say, 25 steps, but you don't have to show all 25 steps. Show only.
Those will be a macro view, sir. Right?
Yes,
Macro.
that's why we call it high level process map, macro level. 30,000 foot view of your process. But the starting point and ending point should be clear. The starting point and ending point should be well defined. Everything that is happening between the starting and ending point are in the scope of the project team. Isn't it? But anything that is happening prior to the start of the process, post the end of the process, project team is not responsible for. Right? So that to that level, if you identify, that's good. So we'll see some examples, then you will be able to better connect.
Yeah, excuse
Okay,
me,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Sir, can the sponsor be the stakeholders of the project?
Yeah, obviously, sponsor is, see, anybody who is impacted by the project result, directly, indirectly, is known as a stakeholder. Right? So project sponsor is obviously the stakeholder. If your project fails, then he is also answerable. Actually, it is the, what do you call, the accountability of the project success lies with the project sponsor only, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
He is putting, he is actually making all the investment.
Yes,
And
sir.
if he makes the right judgment, and he has to give the explanation, isn't it? If he makes a wrong judgment, he has to give the explanation. So even though the project leader is responsible, the sponsor is accountable, right? So that's how it is. Okay. So when it comes to the define phase, first step, problem identification or project identification, there are several tools, but there is a recommendation from me. Voice of customer, voice of business, cost of poor quality, CTQ tree, Pareto for problem stratification, and Y equal to F of X, brainstorming, Kano model. All these tools can be used to identify the project. Say, for example, at the end of every training, completion of every session, we are collecting your feedback. Yes or no? So what is that? The voice of customer or voice of business?
VOC.
Voice of customer.
Voice of customer.
Voice of customer. Then after completion of every training program, we discuss internally. What are the challenges in conducting this particular batch? What was the strength? Whether the strength has gone up or the strength has gone down. And we discuss internally and try to figure out how things went, in a successful manner, or how things, were challenging. And so we try to identify the strength and the weakness, right? So this is a kind of voice of
Business.
voice of business. So what can
Business.
we do to attract, more participants in the next program? So something like that, right? Similarly, any organization will have a lot of, internal issues like the sales declining, or, the, what you call, the on-time deliveries are not happening, or the cost of carrying the inventory is too high. These are all internal issues. These are all internal issues. We call them as voice of business. Very simple. You just talk to people, the managers and leaders at the top level. Then all their issues, challenges are nothing but the voice of the business. You can identify pain areas, pain points by listening to them also. Yes or no? Right? And you can actually interact with them. You can, whatever way possible, some kind of survey or email interaction or telephonic interaction, or you can also, straight away interact with them in person. So you can do it proactively as well as reactively. Particularly, if customers are making a complaint and repeatedly complaints are coming with respect to a particular failure, then that can be considered as a project. But this is quite reactive in nature. Based on the customer complaints, we are identifying a project and then, working on it. And it can also be done proactively. There are no failures happening, but still we foresee and then, we try to improve certain process. So all these tools we will definitely, discuss as we progress. And then in order to prioritize the problems, you can think of using project prioritization matrix, or you can also use Pareto, right? A Pareto plot, and that is what we are going to learn today, Pareto. And then project can be submitted for approval. So in order to submit the project for approval, we actually, what do you call? We submit the project charter. Okay. So, and nothing wrong in using any tools, any other tool which is very relevant but not listed here in my slide. Nothing wrong. In fact, you all must understand Six Sigma do not have any tools on its own. These tools are borrowed from the other approaches, or they are already existing. Only the methodology is developed, concept is developed, principles are developed, and that is known as Six Sigma. The tools are common. 7 QC tools anyway already there. 7 management tools already there. Project management tools already there. Statistics is another area. So many tools. So the tools are given as a package. So in a very structured manner. Like, so if you feel like any other tool may be very relevant to you, yes, you can use it here. Anyway, and for new product development, you need to understand the customer requirement, perform a survey with your targeted audience, and then you need to refer to the cost of quality, cost of poor quality, cost of good quality, and then Kano analysis or Kano model, quality function deployment, or any other tools. So, but here the focus is on developing a new product. All right. So this is only an outline. We will proceed with project identification. VOC, VOB, cost of poor quality. And so hope all of
Kano
you know.
model, we will go through it in the later stage, or
Yeah, yes, definitely. Later stage. We will be discussing. Yeah. So so you all know what is VOC analysis. Am I right? And first of all, you all know who is a customer. Customer can be end user. Customer can be internal. Customer can be external. Yes or no? Can one of you tell me who is internal customer? Can you give me one example of internal customer?
Next process.
Sir,
Sister concern company, sir.
sir, for example, in purchase department, I'm handling procurement department. So, departments who are making purchase requisitions, indent requisitions, these are my internal customer.
Correct. So yes,
in an organization internally, who will be directly or indirectly impacted
yes,
with
All
our
exactly.
internal
improvement.
stakeholders can be considered.
So
The output of
if
my
there is a problem, if there is a problem in meeting the requirements of the internal customers, that can also be taken up as a project, right? So it's possible. So VOC analysis, voice of customer analysis. Here, the problems are identified based on the customer's voice. End user, external, internal. And voice of business, the internal issues. Internal issues, particularly the pain experienced by the top management. The pain experienced by top management, because top managements, they are not part of the process, but still some of their KPIs is they are not happy. So what happens? Some improvement have to be, initiated at the downline so that their KPIs will get achieved. So nothing wrong in listening to the top management voice, and then you can identify certain projects out of it. And then cost of poor quality analysis. You use any of the tool that is possible to visualize the problem. If nothing works, what you can do is you can simply organize a brainstorming session, call all the department and ask them to represent their pain areas, the problems they are experiencing. You know what will happen? They will definitely showcase, present their pain areas. I'm sure some of them will be able to cry, isn't it? Because they are day in and day out. They are coming across so many problems. So a brainstorming session, brainstorming session is a quick way of generating, your project ideas based on the problems represented by the various departments, right? So you do all of this, but what is very important is if you identify any project out of any of the voice, very, very important is you should be able to identify the metric that needs improvement, right? So we call it either CTQ metric or CTP metric, or sometimes COPQ metric. And ultimately you get projects 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So this is known as a project hopper. This is known as a project hopper.
Sir.
And yeah, nothing but a list of projects. List of projects. You can even group them according to the department, according to the issue category, according to the saving potentials. There are several ways you can group them. Ultimately, the list is known as project hopper. A pipeline of project is now ready. You can see here, right? So say, for example, reduction of customer complaints from 22 per month to below 10 in the production department. And this is a defect reduction project. So it comes under 6 Sigma DMAC category. This project has got a saving potential of 29 lakhs per annum. Always in 6 Sigma, the saving must be projected, and always in all estimation should be done annually. So likewise, see here, process cycle time reduction from 13 seconds to 8.5 seconds for the less than 1 liter volume catalyst. Maybe it's a kind of assembly department project where it falls under the Lean Six Sigma. So rework reduction in bending process, average handle time reduction for the call center, call handling time. Average handle time reduction. So what is the metric you will be improving here? Suppose if you are the call center manager, what will be the suitable metric for this? Come on, tell me.
Reducing the time, increasing the customer views.
Time
The customer
Waiting
complaints.
time.
Holding time.
Yes.
It is written here. Average handle time. I think call handling time. Call handling time means the executive got connected.
The
See,
ST, the time you take to address a query of the customer.
Exactly. The time you take to address the query of the customer. Once the call is connected and executive is also online, once the executive is connected with the customer, how much time he actually takes to address the queries raised by the customer. And now the metric is named as call handling time. And you are also able to give me a proper definition. Now tell me, will you be able to measure the call handling time for every call your call center is receiving?
Yes, we can measure.
Yes. And in a day, how many calls your call center might be receiving?
500.
500 calls. And do you want to consider all category of calls under your project? Certain calls, will be getting over in just 1 minute. Certain calls, it might go for minimum 30 minutes. Do you want to include all category of calls under your project, or do you want to categorize? Which is helpful?
I think we
Categorize.
have
Separate it,
Right.
sir. We have
Categorize.
to separate it.
We need to categorize because because different process, different kinds of inquiries, different kinds of what you call the queries might require different handling time. So you have to first of all scope your project properly. This is called problem understanding. Let's say you wanted to particularly consider let's say a category of calls related to payments, calls related to some payments or whatever. So then now out of all the 500 calls, you must consider only the calls where the query is related to the payments. Now you realize there are only out of the 500, only 200 calls are related to the payment. Then you must use only the data pertaining to those 200 calls. Do you understand, all of you? And now to certain extent, you are also able to understand the boundary of the project now, isn't it? You don't have to worry about everything. Don't try to solve everything, in one project. There are many other people working in the same company, isn't it? So they give opportunities for others also. So your project should have a proper focus. And now out of those 200 calls which your call center is receiving every day, what kind of metric you want to look at? Earlier you said, sir, call handling time. Now can we keep an eye on the average call handling time? Because we are getting
Yes.
200 calls every
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Every day we are getting 200 calls. So every day average must be calculated, and you should be able to monitor the average. If the average call handling time is acceptable, then all good. So what is the metric of interest in our project? The average call
All
Handling time.
handling time for the payment related queries. And what is the target? Currently, it takes 30 to 45 minutes. The average, according to the data, currently the average call handling time is somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. And through this project, we want to bring all this, call duration to less than 15 minutes. Clear, all of you? The metric is available. Proper definition is available. Current state of the metric is also understood. And we are also able to fix an appropriate target. Clear? So in this manner, you need to actually define the problem. There are many things here. See here the 11th project. What is the 11th project?
Average cash.
Average cash idle balance to have
30%.
at least
within
30%
12 months.
within 12 months.
So this is only title of the project. This is a project performed in a banking industry. All the ATMs, money is deposited, isn't it? In certain ATMs, money is deposited, and people don't utilize those money. If money is not utilized, bank is not going to get any income out of it. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So the idle money that is lying in the bank ATMs, a project team wants to reduce it by 30%. Wherever the utilization is okay, then that is out of scope. But wherever the money is remaining idle, maybe for a longer period of time, and there is no point of keeping that money, isn't it? Maybe the money can be circulated for other purpose. So the project team is focusing on reducing the average cash idle balance at least by 30% within a 12 months time. So likewise, there has to be proper understanding, and projects are possible in every industry. Yes,
So
Sonu.
just
Yeah.
one point. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
please.
this in previous slides, we have seen this maximum of the projects are based on reactive approach. So how we can identify the projects which may be based on our proactive approach?
Oh, great. So proactive approach requires what do you call a systematic strategic plan. Systematic strategic planning is required. I think we touched about the strategic plan in the last week also. So what do we mean by strategic plan? The plan is made for a considerably longer period of time. Minimum next 3 to 5 years. What we want to achieve as a company. That must be very, very clear. You can take whatever amount of time to decide on this. But once decided, you must sincerely try to achieve it. All of you are with me on this? Then only it is known as strategic plan. And participation of the top management is very, very important. And the strategic plan is based on the objectives of the top management, right? So maybe several sittings and interactions and participation of the top management is required. And then what do you call the 2 or 3 metrics will be identified. 2 or 3 metrics. We can call it as the strategic KPIs, and there will be targets assigned. So if strategic KPI exists, an annual KPI exists, an operational KPI exists, and now you need to ask yourself, are we in a good position to achieve all the KPIs on time? If you are able to achieve all the KPIs on time, absolutely there are no problems. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
My daily KPIs, yes, my team is smoothly achieving. Monthly KPI, team is smoothly achieving. Quarterly KPIs, team is smoothly achieving. That means annual KPIs will also be achieved. That means strategic KPIs will also be achieved. That means after 3 years, I will really see my company in a better position. Whatever I aim, that is going to happen. But if you understand certain gaps, do you think in every company this situation will be in this manner? We always create a plan ambitiously, yes or no? And so when we drill down, we will be able to understand a lot of gaps at the downline, isn't it? And so wherever there is a gap understood, you can initiate a project. So if you have a strategic plan made available and tactical plan made available, then projects can be identified in a proactive manner. You don't have to wait for the customer to raise a complaint. You don't have to ask for the pain areas of the internal people and external people. Rather, you do this exercise proactively, right? If I have to achieve a particular amount of revenue, then my sales this many units I have to sell. If already so many units are selling, then I don't see a project requirement there, isn't it? But if so many units are not selling, then now an improvement is required. Now, what is the process that requires improvement? I'm talking about sales. All of you agree with me, sales is also a process, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So try to identify the process that requires your attention or that requires the project team's attention and that requires some improvement. Maybe you may have to increase the sales executives, or maybe you may have to increase the promotions. I don't know. Anything can be the root cause, but definitely the sales has to be increased. And always scoping is required. Do you want to increase the sales of all the items? Or do you want to focus on increasing the sales of few particular items? The more specific you are, the more actionable the scenario will be. If things are very vague, not specific enough, then you will not be able to take action. You will not be able to think properly and you will not be able to take actions properly. So always scoping is very, very important. Don't try to fix everything in one go. Solve the problems one by one. If there are 100 products, in your project, you should focus on only one product or one group of products. Yeah, a group, maybe, one family of products. So that, you will be able to identify the process behind. If you take up a problem in a vague manner, then the process will be invisible. The process is invisible. Where is the project, right? So you have to identify the process. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
So good question. So there are certain examples here, but I'm not going to read out. Probably you can read yourself. But what is very important is you should also be able to identify improvement opportunities within your area of influence. within your area of influence. They can be defect reduction project, or they can be waste reduction project, or they can be combination of both. All right, possible. See here, projects are initiated here in food processing and distribution industries. You all know what kind of issues might happen in a food processing industry, isn't it? There can be issues with respect to meeting the specification. There can be issues related to packaging. There can be issues with respect to the inventory levels. There can be issues in the delivery, or there can be issues with respect to what to say, with respect to the billing and whatever. And see here, some certain things are written here. Enhancement in quality of packaging, enhancement in productivity, and improving the adherence to schedule at delivery and collection point, improving delivery vehicle utilization, enhancing the reliability of food products delivery. So possible. All that required is a proper metric. All right. Similarly, projects in military application, improving the fuel efficiency and reducing the repair cycle time for military aircraft, and decreasing the wait time for processing new contractors and civilian employees, leading to increased productivity. And these are all, just examples you can go through. And the projects are possible even in healthcare. Reduce medical errors, manage the patient's appointments, reduce the lab turnaround time, laboratory testing, right? Diagnostic laboratories within the hospital, and the time required to perform certain analysis. The lesser the time, it is better the performance, right? And so lab turnaround time, you can think of reducing it and optimizing the resources for certain high value facilities like your MRI scanning facilities, operation theaters. There are so much of what do you call the investments made in creating certain facilities. Are those facilities utilized optimally? If utilization is poor, for what to say, because of the operational mistakes, yes, you can definitely rectify and make sure your resources are available. Your facilities are available for productive work, and time scheduling and discharging the patients faster, high priority patient services. Do you understand the problem here? Discharge the patients faster. If patient has recovered from the illness, what is the point of retaining him in the hospital, right? So you can immediately discharge him, which is good for the patient as well as good for the hospital also, and the bed will be available for the next patient. See, in the long run, every mistake you do, in the long run, you will be paying the price. All of you agree with me? You might think that what is wrong in retaining the patient for extra 2 days? It's going to be an extra income for you. But in fact, in the long run, this message will anyway reach the market, and then people will start avoiding choosing your hospital. So try to keep the scenario win-win as much as possible, right? So if customer pays lesser money and still could recover, and that is actually a great achievement as far as the hospital industry is concerned. So I hope all of you will be able to think about project identification in your areas. Please tell me, are you now able to think about some improvement opportunities in your area, in your current area of influence? If there are any metrics that are coming to your mind, please type it in the chat box. That can be a good knowledge sharing for all the participants here. Any metric that you wanted to improve, and type it in the chat box in an understandable manner. Right? Don't use complicated terminologies, and that will not serve the purpose, and nobody will understand anything. So type some metrics in an understandable manner, and let's see. Okay, fuel cost reduction, good. And recently, one of our MBB participant is working on reducing the CO2 emission from an ammonia plant, reduction of cycle time to produce improved productivity, reduce the cost of manpower, And time of purchase requisition into PO, very good. Increasing production output. Reduce for OPD waiting time, very good. Salt spray life increase. Reduction of customer complaint, good. Machine availability, improving machine availability. Reduce the errors in coding, great. Can improve the CPK to arrest the unwanted failures and reduce the unwanted retest. Reduce time taken for addressing critical incidents. Reduce rework. Reduce meeting time. Productivity improvement. So training to peoples. Training to peoples. Yes, you are filling a skill gap. Right? See, any improvement that you bring it to your organization is nothing but a project. Many a times, people don't realize they are actually doing a project, but they actually bring a lot of improvement, to the table, but they don't document it as a project. Yes, Manoj, yeah. Capacity
It should
enhancement.
be
Capacity enhancement is a development project. Yeah, yes, Manoj.
it should be time specific, time bound and very specific. I mean, productivity improvement from 90% to 95% by December 24 or from whatever it is the timeline. So it should be.
Yeah. See, project idea, yes. Right now, we are only interested in knowing the project idea. So productivity improvement from the current 80% to 90%, right? But within 3 months, within 6 months, or within 1 year, that you need to mention in the goal statement of the project chart. While writing the goal statement, because always your goal should have a timeline. So there you need to mention the timeline. But right now we are only, we're discussing about generating project ideas. You see, so many project ideas, all of you can see. Right? But but the point is you should be able to express the pain using a metric. You said the cycle time, productivity, and things like that. If you use a metric, then there has to be a definition available. There should be a way to measure it. There has to be a measurability. And then you should know the current state of the pain. If you say productivity improvement, what is your current productivity? So that information should be available. And maybe approximately, if you know some information, that is quite all right to indicate it in the define phase. However, all the approximation should become accurate in the measure phase. Right? So, hope all of you got the idea, right, of developing a project idea for your first project. So try to pursue, and then if you are pursuing a project, yes, feel free to approach us back. Right? If you are stuck up in certain areas, you can easily, take an appointment and then we can meet one-on-one basis just to, help you with the project implementation.
Sir,
All
one
right.
doubt is here.
Yes.
Vijay this time.
Who is speaking?
Vijay Tambatkar, sir. I have
Yes.
one doubt.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
It's like generally, we have seen whenever we start this discussion, we generate project ideas. So many people give so many ideas. So, is there any tool, can you suggest, through which we can, we can measure or we can say ki, this is the good idea or this is the bad idea, like that. Is there any tool to gauge the idea?
Okay. So you have 50 lakhs surplus fund, right? And you wanted to invest all 50 lakhs. You know what will happen? All of us will give some ideas, isn't it? You invest 10 lakhs with me, and then our Sama Majumbar might advise you to invest 20 lakhs with him. But will you be interested? You will have some priorities, yes or no? You will certainly have some priorities to invest your surplus money. Even though the money is surplus, you will still have some priorities. Same manner, your organization will also have certain strategic priorities. These priorities, organization will be able to clearly indicate only if strategic plan exists. In the absence of which, all these confusions will come. If the top management is not clear about their requirement, then they will not know which KPI to improve and which KPI to work on, and all those will be missing. But if they are very, very clear about the KPIs that requires improvement, they can easily compare your project against the KPI. Clear? My organization priorities are clear and your project focus is also clear. If this project is successful, will it help me achieve my KPIs? That means my priority and your project are aligning. Can you see that? Based on that, projects will be prioritized. And this is a role of a project manager. This problem comes if there are n number of projects needs to be supported by the organization in the current time. You understand? If there are 100 such improvement ideas, then someone has to really validate whether all these projects are in line with the organization priority. And if all of them are in line with the organization priority, then which is most important? Again, in order to understand most important, you definitely need to know the strategic priorities of the organization. There can be multiple priorities, yes or no?
Yes.
Customer satisfaction is definitely, in some companies, customer satisfaction will be the top priority. In some companies, reducing the operating cost may be the top priority because they don't have any customer complaints. In some companies, the saving potential. If I support this project, what will be the financial saving to the company? That is the top priority. So it all depends, and that's why if the long-term plan is clear and metrics are made available, then it is very, very easy to manage your pipeline of projects according to the priorities of the organization. If it doesn't exist, then some approximations will be happening. All right?
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Yeah, got it. So let's proceed. Problem prioritization and scoping. So what will I do? Instead of teaching this with my slides, anyway, slide material is shared with all of you. What will I do? I will try to explain this with the data, right? With the data, and by making use of a software known as Minitab. Some of you might know Minitab is a famous software used in Six Sigma projects. Otherwise, you can understand now. So I'm just opening the thing. Okay. So the context is, let us say there is a garment industry. The industry is garment industry, and there are customer complaints. Very frequently, customer complaints are coming. So the company is really worried because so many complaints. Literally every day there are some complaints in some format. Even some customer comes directly and then they express their dissatisfaction. So the company decided to drive certain projects so that the customer complaints can be reduced or completely eliminated. So first thing the company should do is they must first of all understand what are these complaints about, isn't it? So all the complaints are about some defects in the supplied product. Some defects in the supplied product. So they decided to collect data, refer the data if it is available. If they have the habit of recording all the defects that are happening, nothing but the non-conformances that are happening, you can refer to the non-conformance report and understand what exactly is going wrong. But if there is no one such record available, then probably you may have to collect data to understand where exactly the things are going wrong. So let me show you the what do you call the Excel file that contains some data. You see here. Can you see my Excel sheet with the highlighted
Yes, sir.
area?
Yeah, we can.
One of you read out
Yes.
what are the defects that are recorded. Please name those defects.
Loose
Defective button,
Defective
loose
buttons.
thread, misaligned fabric stain, stitching defects, hemming defects, color errors.
Okay. Thank you. So that means these are the kind of defects that may happen in a garment industry, isn't it? So the name of the defects can vary from industry to industry. And there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
6,
defects they
7.
recorded. There can be hundreds of defects possible. We know defect opportunities, isn't it?
Yes,
But only 7 types of defects are frequently happening, and that is recorded. And the count of the defect category per month is available here. The count of the defect category per month is available. And now what we need to do is we just have to plot a Pareto based on the frequency of occurrence. In 1 month, how many instances of defective button happened? 217.
217.
You can easily understand that is the largest number. That means
Yes.
the defective button issue is happening more frequently than any other defects. Yes or no? That means definitely some attention is required to, what do you say, to control and eliminate the defective button issue. If you can do that, majority of the customer complaints will get arrested. Yes or no?
Yes.
So let me plot a Pareto here first using Excel, and then we'll do the same thing with Minitab. So what we can do is we can go to insert, right? And then go to the recommended
Revert.
charts. Then go to the all charts. Then you come to histogram. And now choose the second option. All of you are with me on this? Insert,
Okay.
recommended charts, all charts, histogram, and this second option. Second option contains this red color curve. This is known as cumulative percentage. The red color line is known as cumulative percentage line. So you click that. So if you click that, can you see immediately the chart coming? Very simple, right?
Yes, sir.
So
it is
I'll
same as Excel tool or it's different?
Excel
There are
only,
many
Excel
tools.
only. I one more time I have deleted everything. What did I tell you? Insert, then tell me. Please guide me. Where should I click?
Recommend chart,
Recommended charts, then
Then all
then all charts,
all charts, and then
histogram,
and then choose the
the
second
second one.
one. And now you can actually double click or okay. Now you get the chart. Now you want to edit the title and everything, you can do that. Pareto of garment defects. Now what is this Pareto telling you? Defective buttons occur in higher frequency. You can easily see that, isn't it? Automatically the bar is arranged in the descending order. Pareto is actually a graphical representation. It's a bar chart. It's a bar chart. Only difference is the bars will be arranged in the descending order.
Descending order.
It has got an x-axis. In the x-axis, normally the type of defect is mentioned. We call it, the category of defects. It is actually attribute data. There are no numbers. Can you see that? There are no numbers, so we call it attribute data. And when it comes to y-axis, we have got 2 y-axis, one on the left, one on the right. Can you see that? The left side y represent the frequency of occurrence. The right side y occurrence, the cumulative percentage contribution. Right? I'll tell you what it is. So maybe now we will understand the details by after plotting the same graph in Pareto. Sorry, in Minitab. So I copy this, I copy the data, Control C. Then I take you to Minitab. All of you, can you see my Minitab screen now?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, sir.
And now if I place my cursor, you can see my cursor moving. This area is known as worksheet. This area is known as worksheet. There is a gray color row first, which is the header for the data. Here you can type your heading, column heading. And this white color area is nothing but the place where you can actually type your data. You can also copy paste. When you want to copy paste, you place your cursor here on the gray row, Control V. All of you, can you see? Column number 1 talks about the defect, and column number 2 talks about the count. And now this area, I told you, this is worksheet, and there is another area which is known as session window. This area is known as session window. So session window is the place where the statistical reports will appear. Any graphs, any pictures, that will appear as a separate window. So now let us plot the control chart. So please go to Stat. There are so many tabs you can see here. Most of the time we will be spending here only Stat. Then you come to Quality Tools. Then you come to Pareto chart. Can one of you read out the description of Pareto chart?
Display defect in order of decreasing frequency to the priorities, improvement effects.
Yeah.
Efforts, yes.
Display defects in order of decreasing frequency to prioritize improvement efforts. So you fix only 1 or 2 problems, but major percentage of the customer complaints will get arrested. That is the idea. So you click this. Now this window is popping up. Now Minitab is asking you defects data. Where is your defect data? Column number 1. Click, select. And now Minitab is asking where is the frequency. Where have you typed the frequency?
Count.
Column 2. Click, select. Now you choose do not combine here. Now you give OK. Can you see a Pareto here?
Yes, sir.
I can.
This looks little better than the Excel Pareto, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
With some additional information. Again, x-axis, what is this data known as? Attribute data. Here it is frequency data. Here it is cumulative percentage. Now what is this telling? There are 217 instances of defective buttons observed in a particular month. Next frequently occurred defect is stitching defect. What is the number for it? 112. Loose thread 67. And now total number of defect happened is you have to sum up everything. Am I right? All the first row numbers. Then total number is 492. Now compared to the 492, 217 itself is contributing to 44%. If I fix defective button, then 44% of the complaints will vanish. One project, half of the problem solved. Can you see that? And similarly, the next one, stitching defect, 22.8% of the products are, 22.8% rejections are due to stitching defects. And 1 and 2 together, what is the percentage? 44 and 22?
66.
66.9. That means if you fix these two defects, 67% of the customer complaints will vanish. So this first dot represents 44 on the right side axis. Can you see here?
Correct, sir.
But this point represents 66.9. How did we get 66.9? 44 plus 22. That now similarly, if I also add a loose thread, can you see the cumulative frequency becomes 80 or cumulative percentage becomes 80.5%. That means 80% of the customer complaints are due to defective button, stitching defect, and loose thread. This is known as 80-20 rule. 80% of the problems or rejections are due to 20% of the defects. And you may not be able to see, the 80-20 properly working here, isn't it? It won't work properly. That's how statistics is. You must know the limitation of the statistics. And then always use the statistics knowing its limitation. Even though we say Pareto is 80-20, it will not be always 80-20. But if the amount of data, if you have a large volume of data, more or less it will be 80-20. But still it cannot be exactly 80-20. I can give many examples of 80-20 rule getting working. Right now, our session is happening. And how many people are actually interacting? What percentage of the people are interacting here in the session?
20%.
Approximately 10 to 20%. But everybody is benefiting. That is different. So this is, the, what to say, a God-given rule. Many areas you can see the Pareto principle getting applied. It was actually introduced by an Italian economist known as Wilfred Pareto. In one of his research articles, he mentioned that 80% of the land in Italy are owned by 20% of the people in Italy. And later, this Pareto principle is, popularized, and that is used in quality control also. Imagine you are running a restaurant. Your revenue is very important. And your revenue, 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of the items in the menu card. Believable?
Right.
Even though you have a very lengthy menu card, there are 200 plus items, but 80% of your revenue is generated only from 20% of the items in the menu card. So your focus should be on those 20% of the menu items, isn't it? You should not have any compromise. So similarly, 80% of the space in your warehouse might have been occupied by 20% of the products. Yes or no?
It's like the 80% of the wealth in India also occupied by 20% of the big people.
True. Yeah, this is applicable everywhere. I don't know whether in India it is 20% or just 20%. 20% or 20%.
Yeah, it is less than 5%. In fact, 5%.
Maybe just 20 people owning, everything. That is also possible. So 80-20 is, working. But as I already mentioned, it is a statistics. You can't expect exactly 80-20 everywhere. Sometimes it is 70-30. Be happy about it. Use that ratio, for sharing with others. That's all. Right? So that's the thing we have seen here. So now, see, you can always deep dive and understand better if you have the wealth of data. Now the project team or the company has decided to first work on defective buttons. The company has decided to work on defective buttons. And now there are 217 instances of defective buttons. So they started referring to the details of the 270 non-conformance report. So what happens, they now realize, I'm just showing you the Excel again. After referring to the report in a detailed manner, they are able to realize, this thing. So I'm going to the Excel again. See here. Yes, here. Now the split up of the 217 is available. Can one of you read out how the split up is going? Can you see here? Can somebody read out?
Pant shirts,
chudidar, turkey, frock, cost.
These are different products the garment industry is making. Similarly, your company will also have different products. And in all the products, the buttons are common. But now by referring to this data, what do I understand? The defective button issues are happening in a higher frequency, particularly in the shirt section. Am I right? So now your no scope or no your primary focus is now in the shirt section. Even though defective buttons are happening across all the products, you now realize you need to focus mainly on the shirt section. Can you see your scope is becoming little more clear now? The more
Yes.
focused you are, the more easier the problem to get solved. If the problem is not focused enough, then it will be way, and then you will not be able to understand which, where the, what kind of, process needs to be improved. Now it is the shirt section. Let us assume the shirt section of the garment industry is available in the third floor. That means the entire project's attention is limited to the third floor only, where the shirts are getting produced. All the other floors are now out of scope. There may be similar button issues happening, but the team is now not bothered about it as part of the project. They will be definitely attended later on, but not by this project team. Are you clear? The in scope and out scope are clear. What is in the scope of the project? Defective buttons or rejections due to the defective buttons in the shirt section or in the scope of the project. The same rejections in the other garments are out of scope. And definitely other rejections are also out of scope. Temporarily, don't worry about everything that is happening. Your worry should be only about defective buttons, that too only in the shirt section. Clear, all of you?
Yes.
So if needed, you can copy this data and you can take it to Minitab. Now one of you have to guide me. What are the buttons I need to click here so that I will be able to generate another Pareto. Now I have pasted the data in column number 4 and 5. Now tell me, where should I click here?
Tested.
Select the data.
No, not selection is not here. It's not like Excel. First you should click
Start.
Then
Quality tool.
quality tools.
Then Pareto charts.
Then Pareto chart.
Defective data.
And now
Column 4.
defects data in column 4.
Column
So you
4.
first click your cursor here, then select here and press the select button. Now place your cursor here. Now the frequency is in column 5. And then you can say OK. Now the second level Pareto confirms that the focus is required in the shirt section. Focus is required in the shirt section. Defective buttons. All right. So if needed, you can also try to understand further information, and that is also available here. You see here, out of 146 rejections happened in the shirt, 135 are related to button misalignment. Can you see that? 135 are related to button misalignment. So again, you copy that to your Minitab. Copy that to Minitab and paste it in maybe O. And paste it somewhere here. I'm pasting it here. You are able to see my Minitab screen. Am I right?
Right.
I pasted in C7. I think now all of you are familiar now about how to plot a Pareto using Minitab. All that required is you need this software. That's all. Don't worry, you will be able to find it. Yes.
This one, sorry, this Minitab comes with licensed Microsoft version or it's an additional tab?
No, it is an additional software you need to buy. But free version I will give next week.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank
free
you.
version in the sense trial version. It's not free for
Trial version.
lifetime. It's
Yeah.
free for 1 month. And then you can later on decide what to decide, whether to buy or keep on extending the trial version, by creating an account. It's up to you. Anyway,
Thank you so
now
much,
let
sir.
us focus on learning and then later on you can do that. So I copy pasted this. Now, as usual, I'm going to stat, quality tools, Pareto.
Yeah.
And now the defect is available in column number 7.
Seven.
The count is available in column number 8.
Column number 8.
And now you just say
Don't
okay.
combine.
Now what do I understand? The defects are the particular kind of defect that is leading to more complaint is defective buttons. I further realized this is mostly coming from shirt section. I further realize most of the issues are related to button misalignment. Button seeing a damaged button, very rare. And seeing a button stitched in an improper manner is also rare. But very frequently, what is happening? Button misalignment. And now the project, scope is very, very clear. All of you can see that?
Yes.
And so let us now write down something. Now our project is reducing the rejection rate, right? Reducing the rejection rate
For
in the
misalignment in shirts.
In the shirt section.
For misalignment.
Right? Maybe, shirt section due to buttons.
Button misalignment.
Misaligned. Now the project title is very clear now. It is conveying a message. The team is trying to reduce the rejections in the shirt section, particularly due to button misalignment. Now let us pick up from here, right? What is the current rejection rate? That has to be understood, right? Current state of the problem. Current rejection rate. So let us assume the current rejection rate is 5%. Just for discussion's sake, right? There can be some specific number in real time, some assumption here. 5% rejection rate is prevailing in the shirt section, which means if 100 shirts are produced, at least 5 shirts will have a problem with the defective buttons. Misaligned. Misaligned means, buttons are not, in line with the hemmings, slightly up and down is happening, right? So rejection rate is 5%. And now the garment industry, let us say they are able to produce. What do you think in one shift, how many shirts they could produce if it is a decently sized garment industry, export garment? What do you think could be the number of shirts they will be able to produce per shift?
1,000.
1,000 shirts. Okay, to keep the calculation simple, let me use the round number. 1,000 shirts per shift. That means the number of rejected units will be every shift 50 shirts are getting rejected. Am I right?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So cost of poor quality will be 50 into cost of one shirt. It's an export garment. Maybe the quoted price is 2,000 rupees. That means what will be the cost of making of a shirt?
0.8,
500, 800, 900, whatever it is, right? And being an export garment, the strict rule is there should not be any rework. Rework is not allowed. So any mistake happens, that particular shirt cannot be, exported. You can only, either scrap it or sell it in the local market. Anyway, it is a loss to the company, all of you. So now 50 into 1,000, 50,000 rupees. The company is losing every single shift. Can you see that, all of you? Cost of poor quality is 50,000 rupees per shift. So when it comes to cost of poor quality per day, what will be the amount? 1,50,000. So when it comes to cost of poor quality per month, and let us assume the company is working for 26 days. So 26 days, how much it will be? 1.5 into 26. So it is coming to 39 lakhs. Am I right? 39 lakhs. And so on an annual basis, see, I assumed 3 shift. So 1.5 lakhs per day. And so 39 lakhs per month. and then in the annual basis, then amount is becoming very huge. Can you see that all
Sir,
of
that
you?
is per year, sir.
That's what. Yeah, per year, yes. Per year. So 4.68 crores per annum the company is burning in the form of cost of poor quality. All of you, can you see that?
Correct.
So if a project team is formed and if they are working on arresting this rejection completely, the saving potential is huge. Can you see that? Can you see a huge saving potential? Are you able to see a business case here? How much investment you may require to fix this button issue? Maybe some kind of automation, or you may have to purchase a new machine. I don't know what you will do. But definitely this has got a very good business case. Am I right?
Correct, sir.
You can maybe invest few lakhs, nothing wrong, because the saving is huge. Right? So the business case is evidently present. When it comes to business case, you have to highlight on three things. I'll tell you what are the three things. One is the financial benefit. What is the financial benefit? We just now have written. Yeah, you can if you can fix the problem completely, if the rejection is completely brought to zero, you can save the entire money. Or if you are not successful that much, you are able to bring down the rejection to 2%. Then also you are saving around 2.5 crores.
Yes.
So financial savings. I believe this can be eliminated completely. This is not such a challenging issue, isn't it? Very simple. So this is the saving potential, financial benefit. And in addition, I want you to highlight the non-financial benefit also, so that your sponsor will be motivated to approve your project. Can you tell me few non-financial benefit if the project is successful? In addition to saving 4.6 crore, will there be any other benefit?
Brand
Customer satisfaction.
Customer satisfaction.
Brand
No
valuation.
complaints.
Branding.
Okay. Customer satisfaction is improving. Very good.
No
What
complaints.
else?
Brand reputation.
Rework time is reduced, sir.
What time?
Productivity.
Yeah, your
Rework time.
Yeah, your productivity is
Reducing
improving.
repeated issues.
Inventory cost also reduce.
No need of rework.
Reduce.
No rework.
You don't have to keep inventory of all the damaged items. Your workplace will look neat and clean. Yes or no?
Elimination of work waste.
And on-time deliveries will be will improve.
Ensure
And your
waste
customer
delivery.
retention rate.
Capacity increase.
Very good. I'll
perfect
come to
delivery.
that. Do you agree? Customer
Customer
retention rate will
satisfaction.
improve.
Capacity
Customer
increase.
satisfaction.
Yeah, capacity. Yes, your capacity improves. Very good, because you don't
Yes.
have to compensate for the rejections, because there are no rejections happening. So definitely your capacity will improve by 5-10%.
Yes.
And
Team
then
morale and team morale.
Customer
very good
satisfaction.
team morale. So new customers, your existing customer can bring new customers. Your customers can become loyal customers now. Like how all of you are going to help us by putting all your friends, colleagues in the next batch, right? The same manner. So your customers can get you new customers. And one of you clearly told the morale of the team will go up. People are not seeing any issues in the workplace. No frustration. They can finish off the job on time. Isn't it? It is actually, improving the motivation and the morale level of the employees. You need to list down all of these things. This is known as non-financial benefit. Even though I call it non-financial benefit, in the near future, they will also become a financial benefit. Yes or no? Right now, this looks indirect benefit, but that will also become dollars later on. If new customer comes, yes, new business also comes. It's not that just customer comes and goes. You actually get a business. And now, will you be able to write a line about the strategic KPI that will get improved?
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is Balaji.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a doubt regarding non-financial defect. May I ask sir also?
Yeah, please.
Okay, sir, let us consider this button as a company has competitors. Every company having competitors, right? So let us consider this is a X company and Y and
Okay.
Z company having a same kind of defect. So we
Okay.
can focusing on this whatever we see in the market, every shirts are having the same defect. So improving the existing defect with the competitor also will comes under financial, or we have to improve comparing to other defects comparing to our competitors.
No, your question is not clear. So your
Let us,
competitors are also having the same issue. That is the point, right?
Yes.
So how
at
is
the
it
at the
understood
point
right
of
now?
at the point of customer, even though we are purchasing the same shirt with the X, Y, or Z, the defect will be the common. So we have to focus on the competitor or his customer, sir.
See, you can always benchmark best practices, not the bad practices. If your competitors are making, same mistakes, it doesn't mean, you should continue doing the mistake. Not required. You can still fix it. Do you get my point? If your competitors are doing something better, you got to learn something from them. That is, known as benchmarking. But what you are telling is, your competitors are also doing the same mistake. So just ignore. It doesn't matter to you, right? See, your competitors doing mistakes, is actually good for your growth. Encourage them to continue doing the mistakes. But you correct your mistakes, right? So that you can actually outperform them. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Understood.
Yeah, right. So now the third suggestion for all of you is write a line about the strategic KPI that will get improved if the project is driven to success. Strategic KPI, a higher level KPI. Can you tell me one KPI which your boss will be interested in?
Perfect
And
delivery.
What is that?
Improvement in bottom line.
Okay, bottom line improvement. Okay.
Improvement of bottom line by 0.2%.
Very good. Because bottom line improvement is nothing but
profit.
Your profit, right? Your
Reduction
profit
is 0%. Reduction is
and
0%.
your operating cost. Operating cost can go down. Your cost per shirt will go down. Yes or no?
Yes.
Sir, on-time
And
delivery.
yes, on-time delivery. Very good.
No rejection.
No, not all the defects. See, the metrics which your boss will be worried about. In all the meetings, you can see him, specifying certain issues. Yes or no?
Yes.
That means, he is responsible for certain result. So you capture
Bosses are
that
only bothered
language.
about profit and operating cost.
Yeah, if he is bothered about profit and operational cost, then you use the same language. So that, you are talking something in line with the strategic alignment of your project with the priority of the top management. Yes or no?
Yes.
So his language, right? So if someone is really worried about a certain metrics and you are bringing, a positive result in line with his KPIs, and definitely, he will be interested in supporting your project.
Yes.
Because anyway, he is responsible for, the profit and the operating cost, on-time delivery, whatever he speaks. So your project, can have a very good positive impact. So he will definitely be motivated to sponsor your project. All right?
Yes.
Yes. Then
Sir,
further,
like
now
capacity improvement by 5% in this financial year. This can be another like strategic KPI.
yes, you can add. If he is responsible for, capacity enhancement, if that is also in his agenda,
Okay.
right? Normally, capacity enhancement means they'll go for,
Waste reduction or something like that.
they'll go for the production capacity of the entire plant.
Okay.
Right now, what is the capacity? 1,000 shirts, you told me. And now the company has a plan, because there is a good demand for the shirts. They may increase from 1,000 to 2,000.
2000.
But now you are telling them that, sir, see, 1,000 to 2,000 comes with an extra investment. Yes or no?
Yes.
They have to put one more line. They have to buy machineries. They have to appoint people. But what you are telling is straight away 5% increase in the capacity with no extra investment.
Okay.
Your result, will be a good result for him. So he will include that point in his presentation.
Okay.
He will get more rewards than you by
Understood.
saying that, without any investment, he is increasing. So that's how, you should connect. This is known as strategic alignment of projects. So this is to see if everything is happening in a very systematic manner, proactive manner, you don't have to push things. Rather, projects will be assigned to you. But what we are doing, what we are discussing right now, in the opposite direction we are discussing. Can you understand? In some companies, projects will be assigned to the employees. But in some companies, employees have to beg for the approval to drive projects. Two different scenarios are possible. There can be, proactive way of identifying and executing project. There can be reactive way of, identifying and executing projects. It depends, right? All right. So, business case is over. All of you are convinced?
Yes. Hello, sir. This is Utsav, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes, Utsav.
actually, yes, sir. In business case, financial benefit has been shown as 4.68 crores. So if I assume that to maybe a new machine is required of 68 lakhs or something like that. So my net profit will be 4 crores. So my financial benefit will reduce to 4 crores or it will be still 4.68 crores.
No, still, even though you invest 78 lakhs, but still, it is worthwhile investing. And there are ways to actually justify the investment.
Okay.
The return on investment, you are
Yeah.
getting in the same year, not even 1 year, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the ROI period is, just maybe, 3 months, 4 months time.
So my
I
spending on
think
the project won't be counted here.
that's a one-time investment. One-time
Right.
investment, yes. Not won't be counted, right? It will be counted, but still, it is a profitable venture. It's a profitable, project. So definitely, sponsor will convince you.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good point. So now we need to move on to. So 9 o'clock remind me, we'll take a short break and then continue. So problem statement. Now the purpose of writing the problem statement is to communicate the pain being experienced by the customer and the company. Yes or no? You need to communicate the pain. Imagine you sitting in front of a doctor regarding a health issue. Will you communicate properly now? You are sitting in front of a doctor and to communicate about the health challenge you are facing. Definitely you will describe the problem. You will talk about, how long is the issue, last 10 days or last 3 months. Same manner, you can also start here. Sir, last 6 months, we are experiencing a rejection of 5% in the search section. Am I right? So you are trying to describe the pain being experienced, right? So what will happen? Your sponsor will also be able to understand, the pain equal to your understanding. So communicate the pain being experienced by the customer or the company, and you must definitely make use of a pain metric. You must definitely make use of the pain metric. You must include the current state of the pain metric. You must include the current state of the pain metric. You can also gently talk about the consequence of ignoring the problem. Am I right? If the problem is not attended, what will happen? if you just know some 1 or 2 lines, you don't have to write in so many paragraphs, just 1 or 2 lines, because everything is going to be a 1-page document, right? So tell me, will you be able to describe clearly what is the pain metric in our case, in our statement? What is the pain metric in our discussion right now?
Button misalignment.
Rejected
Button
shots.
misalignment is the issue, is the defect. But what is the metric we are using? Our pain metric is
Cost of project.
rejection rate, isn't it?
Okay.
Rejection rate is the metric we are worried about right now. Currently, it is 5%. We want to bring it to 0%. So that pain metric should appear, and the current state should appear. What is current state? 5%. And the duration of the problem should appear. Last 6 months, last 1 year, right? And if we ignore fixing this problem, we may lose the current business. The current customer might cancel the work contract if we continue supplying shirts with the same issue. Yes or no? Your customer is already frustrated. So many times he made a complaint and you have not made any improvement. And if it continues for another, let's say another 1 or 2 months, and definitely he is going to cancel the contract. So you can do all of that. This is what the doctors will also be doing, isn't it? Sir, you have a problem. This is the metric. They'll show you the report, valid report. Underlining a particular metric. Your metric is under trouble. Normal range is here, but yours is outside the normal range. But nothing to worry, because a treatment is available. All that you need to do is fast reaction. You have to get admitted immediately. Then it is just merely a 10 days procedure, and then everything will be all right. But if you ignore, it can become a life threat. Then what will happen? The patient will get admitted on the same day. Okay, sir, let us start the treatment, because I can't, put my life under risk. So similar manner, you can also use the language, right? Make sure you communicate the pain clearly, describe the pain, and also, clearly inform the consequence of ignoring the problem. Clear, all of you? And then you need to proceed with the goal statement. Goal statements should be always SMART. You might know the meaning of SMART, right? What does S stands for?
Specific.
Goal statement should be specific. Our problem is already specific enough. Yes or no? Our problem is already specific.
Measurable.
Yeah, first of all, specific, right? It is rejection in the shirt section, particularly due to button misalignment. We already have a specific problem in hand, right? So it is specific. M means measurable. Are you currently measuring the rejections correctly? We are, yes, we are measuring. We are measuring the rejections correctly. So measurable. And what is A?
Achievable.
Can you reduce the rejection from 5% to 0%? Are you confident of it?
Yes.
Your goal must be achievable. It is possible. 5% rejection, button misalignment. Yes, definitely we can achieve it. And R?
Relevant.
Relevance. And we have already indicated the relevance with the strategic KPI, isn't it? Our project and his KPI, there is a relevance. And then T stands for
Time bound.
Time bound.
time bound. So you write a 1-line statement covering all of these things. So the project goal is to reduce the rejection from 5% to 0% within next 3 months. Clear? Within next 3 months. Now it is August, September, October, November. By 10th of November, the problem will be completely eliminated. There are no issues. There are no more customer complaints after 10th of October or November, whatever. Clear all of you goal statement you will be able to write? Then I want you to proceed and write the scope statement.
Sir, customer complaint is still available, but particular this defect is eliminated. Correct, sir?
Yeah. Complaints because of defective buttons is eliminated.
Yeah, correct.
Not all complaints. We have already, that's what we are going to indicate in the scope now, right?
Okay.
The in scope. In scope is, first thing is defective buttons. Out scope is other defects. Hemming issue, color issues, we are not going to fix, right? And then we are going to fix this problem only in the shirt sections. Out of scope is, still it may continue in other sections, right? And particularly, we are going to fix the button misalignment, right? Maybe the damaged buttons and other things, you know. What do you call it? The other forms of defective buttons we are not going to address. Clear all of you? And suppose if you have multiple factories, you can also say, I am going to do this only in the Bangalore plant, and all other plants are now out of scope. Maybe later on you can implement. Do you understand? So horizontal deployment is possible after the success of the project. It is possible. We can always implement, but right now we limit the scope. So now in scope and out scope are clear. And most importantly, you should now be able to identify the process that requires attention. Now tell me, all of you, are you now able to visualize the process which requires your attention? What is the process? There are so many processes happen in the garment industry. I don't know how many of you are any experts in garment industry here, but still we all know what will happen, isn't it? What are the processes a garment industry will have? Cutting, stitching, ironing, packing, coloring,
loading, embroidering,
loading, unloading,
Measuring.
billing, payment,
embroidering, printing,
embroidery.
printing.
Now tell me, any of this process, can you blame any of this process right now we are spelling out?
No.
No. Then what is the process?
Sir, maybe raw material planning.
Raw material planning. Are you sure raw material planning is related to the button misalignment?
No.
No.
No, sir.
If you are not able to figure out the process, my suggestion is please go to the shirt section. Go to the shirt section where exactly the buttons are getting attached. You draw a circle and stand inside the circle for 30 minutes.
Gemba walk.
You draw a circle and stand there for 30 minutes, completely focusing your attention on the process
Swing
of attaching the buttons to the shirts. Just observe how are they attaching the buttons. Is it done manually or are they use any machines? Try to understand everything. Now you will be in a good position to talk about the process that is responsible for the failure. You will be able to, you should carefully write down the start point of the process. You should also be able to write down the end point of the process. Everything happening between the start and end point is in the scope of your project. Right? Raw material planning is out of scope.
Scope is swing operators. Which operator is switching on correct there only. That operator only.
Is it a manual mistake or is it something else? We'll take care of the analysis in the analyze phase. But right now we have identified the process which is responsible for the problem, responsible for the failure. Do all of you get my point? It's a very simple. Button is picked up, placed on the garment, and then stitching is done, and then somebody is checking, and now it goes to the next stage. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So maybe the placement is the issue, or I don't know, during stitching, the button is moving. That no, we will fix it later on. But right now, definitely here is the process which actually where something is going wrong. So the process is also understood. What I want is I want you to write down the start point and end point of the process.
Sir, also the quality inspector may be responsible for this
Yeah.
in the
Quality
process.
inspector, yeah, that's what inspection. You can go up to the inspection. Start point is button
Start point.
is picked
Attach
up.
operator.
Button is picked up manually or automatically, and then the button is placed on the garment, and then stitching is performed, and then inspection is happening, and
Is
then
sent
the
by.
shirt goes to the next process. 4 steps, only 4 or 5 steps. You write down those 4 or 5 steps here. Clear, all of you? The scope is very clear. Yes or no? Now try to understand who are all the members associated with this process. The operators, the QC
Operator.
inspector,
QC
the line
inspector.
manager, the shift manager, whoever. All of them are in charge. Yeah, all of them are associated with the process. Yes or no? They are known as the stakeholders. They are known as stakeholders.
Oh.
Whomsoever you want to involve them in your project, you can keep them as your project team member. Yes or no? I don't think a subject matter expert is required to fix this problem. All right?
Yeah.
So if needed, you can find someone. Otherwise, within your team, you can easily fix, right? So now the scope is clear. Now go for the timeline. When are you going to kick off this project? And when will you complete the define? When will you complete the measure? When will you complete the analyze? And when will you complete the improve? And when will you complete the control? And then the closure of the project, closure and celebration. You can give the deadlines based on your approximate plan. So let us say we start this project from 1st August 2024. And we said, we will study for 1 month data. So probably by 10th of September, we'll get the project charter approved. All right. So some in a logical manner you create it. And then you have to probably know, you already collected the data. You see, already we waited for 1 month to collect the data. So then in measure phase, probably in another week time, you can complete the measure phase here. Because the purpose of measure phase is to prove that the rejection is only 5%. That's all. Maybe you can wait for another 1 week data and then check whether it is in the same level like the 5%. And then in the analyze phase, probably you may have to find out what is exactly going wrong. The process might require some attention or improvement. What do you think? How many days you might require here for the analysis? I think not more than 15 days, right? So let me say 1st October. And then improve another 15 days. The project seems to be very simple one. And what kind of what do you call the upgradations you need to do? Some your documents have to be updated, some extra inspection have to be carried out. All those things are part of your control plan. I think you can finish off that by 25 October, another 10 days. And so your project will be closed by 31st October. So this is plan looks more realistic because considering the nature of the problem, I have given less number of days. But if it is going to be a very complex problem, let's say the boiler efficiency has to be improved, then I might definitely allot some extra period. Isn't it? A lot of experiments you have to do. because we don't know how things can go wrong in a boiler and a lot of attention required. Now then finally team members. And you need to indicate the project sponsor, whoever is the project sponsor. Then you need to indicate the project champion. In some cases, it can be same or different. Same person might act as a champion and sponsor, and then you should necessarily have a project leader. Maybe this is a Greenbelt project, I would say. And then team members, project team members, and any other stakeholder who needs to be in the loop, and other stakeholders, you can say. That's all. And now your project charter is ready. And now it must be signed by the project leader, then the finance controller, because you are showing a lot of calculations. So, and then it should be approved by project sponsor. Clear, all of you? And once the project charter is approved, the project is live, officially live. All right. So that's it on the project charter. If there are any questions, you can ask, or otherwise we can take a short break and then come back and continue the discussion with measure phase. All of you, please note, we are not concluding the discussion of define phase here. We have only started. So I will be taking you through the DMAX cycle 3 times. How many times? 3 times, right? So define, for the first time, we have understood something. Again, we will come back next week and try to continue the discussion, right? And one more time, again, we will come back and then continue the discussion, right? So after 3 cycles of learning the DMAC, you will definitely feel empowered. You will definitely feel the transformation, and you will be able to handle projects, right? So that is the idea. So any question based on whatever we discussed so far? All good?
Yes, sir, understood.
Very good. So then 9:15 now. So let's take a break and then we'll continue by 9:25, right? You have 12 minutes. We'll meet by 9:25 and continue. All right. Six Sigma project. And then, any doubts we can discuss. So I will quickly show the slides, and because I have covered everything here, with the Minitab file itself. So anyway, just to help you understand how the project charter will look like, I'll quickly run through the slides. Right, but I'll not be spending time. Instead, I will spend time in the measure phase, right? So you are seeing the Pareto slides, the purpose of the Pareto and how to draw a Pareto and all the manual calculation. Though it is an outdated practice, still you can learn the calculations involved in plotting the Pareto, or you can use Excel or Minitab method, and all that are getting plotted. And this is called a subdivision Pareto or stratified Pareto. From the defectives, we got to understand shirts is the major contributor. And again, from the shirts, we understand misalignment is the major contributor. And that's how we developed the project charter. So there is also a limitation in Pareto. You know what is the limitation? We decided everything based on the numbers only. Sometimes the cost associated may be the criteria your management will be interested in. Yes or no? In such case, the conclusion derived from the Pareto may be different from the conclusion expected from your top management. But you can easily handle that situation. I'll tell you how you can do that. You just have to convert the numbers into cost. That's all. You convert the numbers into cost, then such a Pareto is known as weighted Pareto, right? You can have single criteria or even multiple criteria. All that required is you must convert the number into weighted number, Accordingly, the Pareto will be known as weighted Pareto. And then before after Pareto. What is before after Pareto? What is the scenario before the project? And what is the scenario after the project? You can present that information with the help of Pareto only. So Pareto plot can be used as a visual validation, isn't it? So visually, your results are promising. And stratified Pareto we have already seen. Hope all of you understand all these recap points about the Pareto. Clear? Okay. And now when it comes to the project charter, there are 6 important elements any project charter should contain. But there can be 7th element, there can be 8th element. For example, budget I have not indicated. We have not discussed about the budget. That can be added. Some details about the risk involved, some definitions of the terminology. You can always have some added information, but at the same time, don't complicate your document, right? And make it simple, short, and then communicate the message straightforward. Because the sponsor is normally a person from the top management and who may not be able to spend longer time in reading your project, right? So make sure within just 10 to 15 minutes, one should be able to gain a proper understanding about your project. And if possible, you can add some graphical clues, some graphs, some pictures, so that you can quickly understand. So project charter elements, and these are the 6 elements we spoke about: business case, problem statement, goal statement, scope statement, timeline, and team member. So how to write a business case, I have already clearly explained. You don't have to depend on this literature or any other source, right? Trust me, if you develop a proper understanding, then you will be the best person to give a proper business case. You don't have to follow any other guideline. If you even look at some real project document, they might have written the business case in a wrong manner. Possible, right? Because always in real time, people, they want to make quick progress, right? More than the perfection, and everybody wants completion. So there is no need to stick to any specific rule. Rather, you simply try to apply the learnings we had, and you will definitely be all right. And even if you look at the examples in my slide, and it will not be on par and to a better level, to a level equivalent to what we discussed. We clearly discussed financial benefit, non-financial benefit, and then strategic alignment of the project. These are the 3 informations required in while writing business case. Even if you are a project sponsor, you will also expect the same thing only. All right. And now problem statement. And problem statement contains the description of the pain. Pain metric should necessarily appear, and you should indicate the current state. And see here, there is a problem statement written here. Is it a good description? Please go through and tell me whether it is a good problem statement or not. Looks good, right? So how long is the problem? Last 12 months. And how big is the problem? Rejection rate is 2.8.
1%.
Yeah. And of course, they're also talking about some cost of poor quality. It's a repeat information because we normally project this in business case. However, it is appearing here also. Sometimes this kind of repetition happens. But other consequences, customer dissatisfaction, poor 5S score, right, and all of these things.
For sharp.
Exactly. So goal statement: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bounded. And then scope statement: in scope, out scope. This is a scope statement for a auto component manufacturing company's project. Length under size, cup bulb D-shaping. These are the defects considered in the project. Other defects and other rejections are not considered, out of scope. Timeline: you can indicate phase-wise start date and end date. And you can also monitor the percentage of completion and the current health. Are you ahead of the schedule, or are you lagging in the schedule, or are you as per the plan? You can indicate with some color coding or whatever. And then team member, yes, as we know, we need to indicate and who is the sponsor, who is the team leader, who are the team members, who are the experts involved, who are the other stakeholders involved, and all that you can show. And this is a sample project charter. And this is a project on reducing the rejections due to welding defect. This is done by one of our MBB participant, right? And his project, actually it is happened in Oman. And so the business case is written in terms of Oman reals, you can see here, right? So, but the people who are in the field of domain of welding, you will be able to know, you will be able to read the terminology and then understand better. So, but anyway, this is a project charter. Reduce the welding defects. Here, see here, problem statement they are calling as opportunity statement. These are all quite common. And this is again another project charter. We are only showing the key elements, the key 6 elements. And again, in line with our discussion, I'm not reading it out. And this is one other project charter. And again, this is a piston manufacturing company where the diameter issue, the diameter is not, as per the spec. And so they developed. So maybe this is something, useful. You can always create a project team structure and showing the photographs of all the team members involved. And it can also act as a good source of motivation, isn't it? Because people seeing their faces in the documents, normally they will be, motivated and they tend to cooperate better. And then you can also create separate roles and responsibility card for every team member. You can clearly dictate what are the expectations from them, and that can be also indicated. Now this is a project schedule in the form of a Gantt chart, visual, information of the schedule. All right. So that's it for now as far as the define is concerned. Now, what is the next phase?
Measure.
What is the next phase?
Measure.
Yeah. Next phase is measure. And please note, if you have done enough work in the define phase, and the challenges in measure phase will be minimal. Challenges in measure phase will be minimal. Anyway, we'll talk about the measure phase with the time available. So tell me, what is the primary objective of measure phase? Then again, in the end, I'll show you the slides. Let us talk. So what is the primary objective of measure phase? Why measure phase is included? If it is not there, what will be the consequence?
Collect the information or data.
Yes, to collect the
Without
whether
we cannot arrest the problem.
Yeah, we wanted
Whether
to
my
measure the
measurement
problem.
system is
And the current
whether my
state.
measurement system is adequate to measure the problem.
To understand the current situation, it will help.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very good.
As per my understanding, sir, like a major phase is basically to check the current health of the process, what is going on in the process,
Very
so that
good.
we can take appropriate action on the basis of fact finding.
Exactly. Fantastic, fantastic. The main objective of the measure phase is to understand the current state of the problem. We call it baseline. To correctly understand the baseline. When I say correctly understand, I want accurate information. Do you understand, all of you? I want accurate information. Imagine you are on a project. You want to lose your weight. You are on a weight loss project. Some of you, might have participated in such project. Am I right? Because you are overweight. So you wanted to reduce 10 kgs in the next 3 months. So your project goal is clear now. Project goal is clear. And now what is important is you must first understand your current weight. You must first understand current weight. Where are you right now? What is your body weight? So first of all, you must have a clear definition of body weight. Right? Then only you will be able to measure the weight. You can't measure your body weight and whenever you wanted to measure. If you are really on a weight loss project, will you measure your body weight at whatever time you are free and then use the data? Definitely not useful. So you have to write down a clear-cut description of what is to be observed and what is to be measured. If you have a clear-cut description, that is known as operational definition. A clear and concise statement about what is to be observed and measured. If and the description should be very, very clear, to the point, and unambiguous. Otherwise, what will happen? People will measure in whatever way they want, and finally your data will be contaminated with so much error. Can all of you give me a definition? Will you be able to develop an operational definition to measure your body weight? Shall we do a small exercise? 2 minutes. Imagine all of us are on weight loss project. So we have to measure our own body weight. Can you wear all these coat like what I'm wearing right now while measuring your weight? Can you wear shoes?
No.
So
No,
please
no,
write
no,
down
no.
a definition. If somebody reads your definition, he should be able to measure correctly. Now you have 2 minutes to do that. Let us see your descriptions. I mean operational definitions in the chat box. And please note, your language should not create confusion. Very, very important. Otherwise, somebody will do some kind of nonsense and then record so much data with that. So you have to be very, very clear. So let's see how you are writing a definition for measuring the body weight. Very simple. Because we are on a weight loss project. Because we want our readings to be free from any bias. We want our readings to be free from any bias. So bias is nothing but the deviation from the true value. If you are actually weighing 70 kg, but if your recorded data says you are 72, can you see a deviation here, 2 kg extra? The 2 kg extra is what we call it as bias. Okay, we started getting some definitions. Measure the weight with the casual wear without shoes. Very good. First, check the weighing machine is calibrated. Yes. All of you. So you can also educate others. Now is the opportunity. Maintain health check. BMI, blood test. Why all of these things required to measure the body weight? A diet plan. Body weight shall be measured on empty stomach. Oh, great. Measure scale is required to weight of body and measure the weight every day morning at 6 a.m. in empty stomach, wearing light clothes. Very good. Good. Some definitions are really good. I like this definition. Yes. What is that? 6 o'clock and etc. Very good. Make sure to check 0 prior to measuring. Yes. So Palnivel, Muthuswamy and few others have written a very nice definition. So this is very, very important. This plays a very vital role. Please note all of you. Otherwise, easily people will capture error while capturing the data. We want people to capture the fact, but you know what people will do? They capture the fact along with error also they will capture. So that will lead to misleading conclusions. Okay. And also, again, a proper definition, everything should be available. So let me share my slide. Measure face, yes. So we'll go up to 10:15. All of you, right? Because we had a 10 minutes break. So we go up to 10:15. All right. So introduction to measure face. So toll gate review, steps, deliverables, and then the tools. So have you identified the CTQs to be measured? Very important. We have been, all through the project, we are talking about CTQ or CTB metric. And that metric, should have a proper definition, and everything should be available. In fact, not only the definition, you should also know the target, you should also know the upper limit, you should also know the lower limit. Target, upper limit, and lower limit. That must be defined. And then you must have an appropriate data collection plan. And your measurement system should be capable, should be adequate. That means it should be free from error. And if at all there is any bias, the bias must be less than 10%. If at all there is any bias, the bias must be less than 10% of the tolerance given by the customer. Less than 10% of the tolerance given by the customer. And then, is the data collected appropriate for analysis? Yes. Can we use the data for analysis? Because the data collection plan should be strategically correct. And then the baseline. How far is your project goal from the current performance? If you have the baseline and you have already decided on the target, and so the difference between baseline and the target will indicate your distance from the current gap that exists. All right. So data collection plan or the measurement plan, that is the first step. And then before actually going for the real-time data collection, you must validate your measurement system. You must validate your measurement system. Ensure your measurement system is really, capable of collecting the data without error. And then you proceed with the data collection and estimate the baseline out of it. So ultimate outcome is accurate estimate or accurate measure of your baseline. What is baseline? Your current level of performance, the ground reality. You can express the baseline in the form of DPMO, in the form of sigma level, in the form of CP/CPK, in the form of yield, or any other relevant metric. Any other relevant metric. Then there are certain tools. Data collection plan. Just now we spoke about operational definition, a clear and concise description of what is to be observed and what is to be measured. And data type. At this point of time, it is good to know a little about data, because we are going to use data as part of our Six Sigma project, and we are going to learn the ways of analyzing the data, interpreting the data, and all that. So the first starting point of dealing with the data is knowing your data type. Data type can be qualitative, data type can be quantitative. Hope all of you understand. So if you can express the information without, with the help of numbers, then it is quantitative data. If there are no numbers available, only description is available, then the data is known as qualitative. Descriptions, pictures, there are no numbers. Ultimately, if there are no numbers, the data is known as qualitative, otherwise quantitative. And within quantitative, we are going to understand two types of data today. One is continuous, another one is discrete or attribute data. So what is continuous data and what is discrete or attribute data? Out of the two, continuous data is advantageous because it gives information with the higher level of accuracy. The rounding of error will not be there if you work with continuous data. We'll try to understand that. And then in measurement system validation, we need to understand these terminologies: bias, repeatability, reproducibility, and gauge R&R. Bias, repeatability, reproducibility, and gauge R&R. Gauge R&R is a measure of the repeatability error and reproducibility error in comparison to the tolerance provided by the customer. Gauge R&R is a measure of measure of repeatability and reproducibility error in comparison to The tolerance given by the
Tolerance.
customer. Tolerance is nothing but the distance between upper spec and lower spec. Tolerance is the difference between upper specification limit and lower specification limit. We'll talk about it. And finally, baseline performance, traditional yield, first pass yield, throughput yield, DPMO, and then CP, CPK, process capability indices. There are a few other metrics like PP, PPK, or any other relevant metric you can use to measure the baseline. So this is about the what you call the measure phase outline. Now data collection plan. Always when we talk about data collection plan, people will have a problem with the sample size. Yes or no? People always have a problem with sample size. Sir, how much sample is good for this particular purpose? The more specific your problem is, the better the answer for your question. Right? If your problem statement is not specific, then we cannot make any suggestion on the sample size. But in general, I can give you a suggestion. Always when you are, before worrying about the sample size, please make a proper decision about data collection period. What am I telling? We started about sample size. But before talking about sample size, what is important? Sample collection period. Sample collection period can be 1 week, period can be 15 days, period can be 30 days, right? More the period, better will be the understanding. All of you agree with me? More the period, better will be the understanding. But if there are limitations, you can't collect data for more than a week, then no other option. You have to complete your sample collection period within 1 week. Why you are making this decision? Because next week is the audit. So you only have 1 week time to collect the data in real time. Or suppose you want to refer to the past data and past 3 months data is available, then your sample collection period is 3 months. All right. So if your data is free from any trend, upward trend or downward trend, you can use the data as it is. Suppose if there is an upward trend, and try to consider the portion of the period where your results are stable. Do you get my point? If your rejections are continuously increasing from 1% to 3%, 3% to 5%, 5% to 7%. Now, what is your rejection rate now? Every month there is a 2% increase. Now, in this case, better avoid using the longer period. That's not fair. Because you are seeing a trend, isn't it? Let's say your blood sugar level keeps on increasing. Now, will you be worried about your current reading or will you worried about your past reading? Your current sugar level is more important, isn't it? So try to pick up the recent period of data and then work within the data. So, but if your data is free from any kind of trend or anything, you can use the entire period, calculate an average, and then use it. Who is trying to make any presentation? Yeah. I think somebody is making, trying to make any presentation. Who is that? Would you like to convey something? Yes. Okay. So we are talking about the sample collection period. So choose it wisely. Let's say you want to understand your current body weight. Tell me how much period you would like to measure to make a conclusion about your body weight. 1 day reading will do? Or you want to measure for 3 days and take an average? Or you want to measure for 7 days and take an average, which makes sense? Even 1 day will do?
We will do repetitively.
3 times in a day and average.
3 times in a day,
One
like
time
three
sufficient.
like 3 meals in a day. You want to take 3 readings in a day?
Yes.
Okay. But 3 readings, but as per the operational definition, right? But not at different time. Always in the morning. Morning itself, you take 3 readings and then take an average. That is to just minimize the bias. Some kind of bias might affect your, weighing machine. So you can take 3 readings. So I think if you think a little in line with the problem you are trying to fix, you will be able to judge correctly on the data collection period. All of you are clear? Sample collection period.
Yes.
Once sample collection period is decided, then you must think about sample collection frequency. Sample collection frequency. Do you want to measure your body weight daily once? Or you want to measure your body weight hourly basis? Or do you want to measure your weight once in 15 minutes? Which makes sense. But in a manufacturing context, probably if the process is really very weaker, lot of rejections happening, you may like to measure hourly once. Because the rejection levels are too high, and then it is cost of poor qualities are higher. So you would like to collect samples frequently and then act immediately. But if your processes are stable enough, you can minimize the sample collection frequency. Am I right? I have seen companies collecting the samples, every 15 minutes, particularly in the food industry. Okay, it's okay. So particularly the food industry, because if something goes wrong, they can't correct. Whatever they produced, has to be straight away dumped into scrap. So they frequently take samples. Yes or no? Let's say they manufacture chocolates. 1 hour, several tons of chocolates getting manufactured. So they might probably, make samples once in 15 days. Yes. Okay. So something like that. So first thing to decide is sample collection period. The next thing to decide is sample frequency. Then finally, sample size. Then finally, sample size. Let us say you are recommended to audit a supplier. One of your supplier, your company asked you to audit them. Now tell me, what will be your data collection period, and what will be your data collection frequency, and what will be the sample size? You can even ask your supplier to create the data for you, but then you have to give him a piece of advice. All right. So if they are just making some kind of what to say, some machining process, let us say it's a machining process, some surface finish or some diameters or some length or some kind of material characteristics needs to be measured. I think in my opinion, data collected over a period of week, is it good enough? 1 week, and with the sample collection frequency, once or twice every shift.
Yes,
Once or twice every shift, and then every time data is collected, you are demanding for a sample size of at least 3 or 5 samples every time. Now these five samples collected at a time is known as sample size. If your sample collection period is decided properly and sampling frequency is also decided logically, then sample size can be any number between 2 to 25. If you take care of sample collection period and sample collection frequency properly, then sample size can be any number between 2 to 25. And within 2 to 25, the rule is higher the better. Higher the better. Wherever possible, go for a bigger sample of 10, 15, 20 or 25. But in certain cases, taking too many such samples, is possible, not possible. That time you can even settle with even just the 3 or 5 samples. All of you are with me on that? Data collection plan. And then data type. So let me take you through the slides. Sorry, yeah. Okay, data collection plan. So first you should understand what to measure, and then you must have a data collection plan, and then you must have the operational definition and understanding of data type. You all know what is CTQ, right? Key measurable characteristics of a product or a process whose performance standards or specification limits must be met in order to satisfy the customer. You must have a clarity on the upper spec as well as the lower spec and the target value, right? And now data type. As I already told you, broadly data can be classified into qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative and quantitative data. So quantitative means you are using numbers. Qualitative means you are presenting some information but without using numbers. And now within quantitative, there are two types. One is continuous, other one is discrete. Which is better here? Continuous is better because it is measurable in nature. Anything which is measurable in nature and there is a chance to measure it accurately. Room temperature I want to measure. Can you measure with some instrument, thermometer or whatever? There is a measurability. But if there is no thermometer available, then what will be your observation? Sir, room temperature is very high. And somebody will say, sir, my room temperature is very low. Somebody will say, sir, it is moderate. So you are only getting an approximate information. Can you see that? So getting this approximate information is what we call it as attribute data or discrete data. People will keep on saying that, sir, temperature is low, medium, high. Nothing other than low, medium, high. Can you see that? There are only 3 values possible. That is why it is known as discrete data. That is why it is known as discrete. Because continuously, how many readings only will get repeated? Only 3 readings. Somebody says low, and someone else will say medium, another person might say high. Only the same 3 reading will repeat again and again. But if I give you a thermometer, then you will see hundreds and thousands of readings coming. Somebody will say, sir, room temperature is 32.53 degrees Celsius. Another person will say, sir, room temperature is 32.34. One more person will say, sir, room temperature is 35. And endless possibilities are now available. Yes or no? That is why measurable data are known as continuous data. Because the possibilities are endless. All of you understand? So any measurable characteristics will be a continuous data. Countable characteristics are discrete data. Now, how many people are on the video? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, this is countable or measurable? Countable. Countable data or discrete data. It will only have whole numbers. I cannot say, sir, 8.5 people are on the video. Decimals and all not possible. It is always a whole number. But measurable data, you will have fractions. You will have decimals. Diameter can be 10.35 millimeter. Possible. Hope all of you understand what is continuous and what is discrete, right? So continuous data,
Yes.
it's measurable. Decimals are possible. It will definitely have a unit of measurement. However, discrete data are just numbers, no unit. So definition for continuous data is available. Definition for discrete data is also available. And here is the classification: qualitative data, quantitative data. And within quantitative data, you have 2 types, continuous and discrete. Continuous means all measurable. Measurable and comes with unit of measurement. Your monthly sales, what kind of data it is? Tell me. Monthly or daily sales? Daily sales, is it continuous data or discrete data?
Discrete data.
Continuous.
Discrete data.
Why it is discrete? Why it is continuous? Are you counting
We can
your
measure
sale?
it in
Are you counting your sale? If you are counting your sale, then it is discrete.
Yeah.
If you are measuring your sale, then it is continuous. Tell me, what is counting the sale and what is measuring this sale? Counting the sales means you are referring to number of sale.
Number of sales.
Measuring the sale means you are measuring the sales value. Yes or no? Every day your sale is now 5.5 lakhs. 5.5 lakhs Indian rupees. Can you see a unit of measurement? If there is a unit of measurement, then it should be called as continuous data. The resolution of your mobile phone camera. What is this? Continuous or discrete?
Discrete. Discrete.
Because you don't have you're not able to measure. You
Qualitative.
What is qualitative?
Qualitative.
but specification is available, in your mobile phone. What is the unit they are using to measure the specification of the camera?
Megapixels.
Pixels.
So whenever unit of measurement is available, please understand you are dealing with the continuous data.
Continuous.
Right. But if no specification is available, then you look at the camera and then you yourself judge, sir, my camera is, good. My camera is average. My camera is bad. If you speak in this manner, then your data is discrete or attribute. No unit of measurement. It is only good, average, and better. Do you understand? So if a unit of measurement exists, then it is continuous. Otherwise, it is discrete. All right. So let us do a small exercise, and then you will be able to better understand. Now tell me, turnaround time. Is it continuous or discrete?
Continuous.
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 Because turnaround time is measurable. And what will be the appropriate unit of measurement?
Seconds, minutes.
Seconds or minutes. So your judgment is very correct. Customer satisfaction score.
It's discrete.
Discrete.
It comes in percentage, right?
Discrete.
Qualitative, I think.
Not
Good,
percentage,
excellent,
customer
good.
satisfaction score. Like all of you are giving the feedback at the end of the training. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Only the 5 readings only gets repeated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again. So it is discrete.
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 Number of transaction failed.
Discrete.
Discrete.
That is also discrete, right? And maturity amount.
Continuous.
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 Total available balance in your bank account.
Continuous.
Continuous.
Time to resolve an issue.
Continuous.
Number of cards attached to your savings account.
Discrete.
Discrete.
Time taken to process a loan application.
Continuous.
Number of clients served.
Discrete.
Discrete.
So same manner, try to judge what kind of data you are dealing in your current profession. Any data that comes to your table, you should be able to categorize whether it is a continuous data or discrete data. So what is your learning here? If your data contains a unit of measurement, then it should be
Continuous.
Continuous.
If a unit of measurement doesn't exist, then it should be discrete, or you can also call it attribute.
Attributes.
Right? So accepted, not accepted, good and bad. Right? And these are all okay, not okay. These are all discrete data or attributed.
Sir, a question.
Yes.
So when this number comes, and it can vary from like 1 to 100, or it can go above that as well. Then how it will be in discrete? Just a question.
No, you give an example. What kind of you give an example for that?
Like even transaction failed, like for the total when you're taking. It can.
See, number of transaction, when I say, it is just a number, isn't it? 1,000 transaction. 1,000 transaction. It's actually, only we cannot have 1.5 transaction or 1.8 transaction. It is meaningless. If the fractions are meaningless, then we call it, a discrete data. Only whole number is possible.
It's just a raw data.
Come again?
He's saying it is a raw data or something.
Yeah, raw data, yes. See, always, the just countable informations are discrete. Countable informations are discrete. Please note, if you are able to calculate average, and if the calculated average is meaningful, then your data is continuous. Another definition I'm giving you.
Sir,
Right? If you are not calculating average, if you are calculating proportion, then you are working with discrete data. Clear? So number of transaction. If I ask you, what is the, if I ask you to express your performance, how will you express your performance? 90% success rate. That means it's a proportion. But if you are measuring the transaction time, how will you express your performance? Sir, average transaction time is 40 seconds. Average transaction time is 2 minutes. So if you are able to use average, or if you are using average to communicate your performance, then your data is
Continuous.
If you are using percentage or proportion, then your data is discrete. Clear now?
Yes, yes.
Very good. Okay, so we're done with this.
Sir, just one point. This discrete and continuous data is clear.
Yeah.
On the left hand side, you have written this qualitative data as well. But the
Yes.
qualitative data is also attribute data only.
Yeah, correct.
Then
Qualitative
why
data.
we have, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please go
So
ahead.
why
Yeah.
we have then further bifurcated it? Because in qualitative data and quantitative data. And quantitative data as well, there is a continuous and discrete. And discrete again, it's a attribute.
No. See, yeah, it is a terminology. You are correct. It's a terminology. This terminology is interchangeably used. See, qualitative data means, say for example, any data that comes to me. Let us say, what to say? Let's say
Wherever I can give the answer yes or no. That is, as per my understanding, that may be
Based on information.
qualitative data.
Or negative, positive, you can say that.
Yes,
Indicative?
no, fail, pass.
Based on information or feedback.
Yeah, see, qualitative means, it's very subjective in nature. Very subjective in nature. Say, for example, I simply take a picture of all of you. First day we took a picture, you remember? And
Yeah.
that picture I am sending to MSME. What kind of data I am sending to MSME?
Qualitative.
That is not a quantitative data, isn't it? That is only qualitative data.
Qualitative.
But what I do, I carefully analyze and then prepare some kind of list. And let's say there are 100 male candidate and there are 13 female candidate, right? So 113 is the strength. 100 candidates are male and 13 candidates are female. So now this is a kind of. Can you see two categories of your data? Even though I have 113 participants, all 113 people are divided into one of the two category. Can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
100 people are male and 13 people are female. So now when I simply mention every participant as a male candidate or a female candidate, there are two values I'm frequently using. Now earlier it was a group photo, that is qualitative. But now I'm converting that information into numbers and now I call it as
Quantitative data.
discrete data. But though it is discrete, but still sometimes it is used in literature that they still call it as attribute data because it talks about the the categorization of the participant into male or female. So it actually talks about a particular attribute, sex, male and then female. So that's why we use the term attribute. However, this is also a case of discrete only. And for all discrete data, we use proportion to describe the data. But for continuous data, we use average to describe the data. All right. So whenever you have an unit of measurement, yes, it is then continuous data. And for, again, the operational definition means a clear and understandable description of what is to be observed and what is to be measured. Whatever you are measuring, yes, the description must exist. See here, can you see some operational definition? This is from a restaurant industry. Order lead time, percentage of late lunch hours, food preparation time, food cooking time, customer waiting time. You have to write down the actual meaning of the terminology used in your project. Don't take things granted. Right? Waiting time in my project may have a meaning. The same waiting time in your project may have a different meaning. Am I right? So there has to be, you have to take efforts to ensure everyone in your project team has the same understanding about the metric they are going to measure. All right. So okay, and this is a complete, kind of a data collection plan. That means for every CTQ, we give the operational definition, then where from the data must be collected, how many sample, who should collect the data, and when he should collect the data, and how he should collect the data, and then how many data he has to collect at the time of collecting the sample. That means, sample, this is what we call it, the sample size. All right. So now let me just show you